Happy New Year, everybody. I brought your first to know for our year-end wrap-up. We're taking a look here on the beginning of January, and we have some pretty optimistic news here. If you look at Boulder County, average sales price, we're up 6.1%. Now, 2023's average sales price was our low through what kind of had tapered off through 2022. So being that we're comparing the low of a year ago to now, 6.1% is a really great number, right? Happy to see this. Has it trended down a little bit this year? Yes, but it has every year for the last 3 years. And we're starting to see some noticeable change. The median close price was up 10.8% from this time last year, which was around the same for 3 years prior. So that's great news. If we get into the condo townhouse news, not quite as exciting, but it isn't bad, right? Here we are up 4.8% from this time last year, just slightly below those 2022 numbers. So 564,000 is a good average sales price, especially with all the hurdles that they've had. The other thing that we're looking at here is the median close to list price, again, finally creeped up over the low that we've seen in the last couple of years. So comparing some of the worst months, December usually being one of the lowest sales prices outside of January, we're really looking on a 4-month optimistic view of the market. Now, curb your enthusiasm a little bit, but here we are, single price per square foot, same basic thing, right? Detached single family up 4%. The condo townhouse market stabilized, looking pretty good. Take that 13% with a grain of salt, but what you've seen here is some stability in the market. Now, this is kind of where it gets a little dicey, but we got to watch this and we got to understand what's going into next year, right? The whole reason to look at this data right now is what are we expecting in 2025? What are we starting the year with? Supply of inventory, 103 more units on the market, a little bit above last year by 15%, but totally manageable. Nothing crazy, right? We had a lot more inventory all year this year, but we're starting in a really good spot as things came off the market, slightly elevated. New listings coming to market, barely below where we were a year ago, almost the same, right? Most Decembers are right in that same region where people don't tend to list a lot of property, but buyer demand. Here's the thing that we all got to know. Now, buyer demand is really similar to where it was last year this time, but that doesn't mean much because September, October, November, all were elevated. If you look at the month supply of inventory, as it dipped way lower, we have less homes on the market. So basically, buyers are starting in the same place they were, just maybe 10% more inventory than this time last year. But there is more buyer activity. And I say that we'll look at it in our showing traffic, because with more inventory, more buyer activity is required to kind of get to the same level. If you look at average days in MLS, it's very similar to where we were a year ago. You're going to see us starting in the same place. So things are taking a little longer to sell. But that being said, it's still manageable, right? So we're kind of in this point where we've seen the market shift a little. It's going to be super dependent on interest rates. You can see the close of list price, best deals of the year every year around December. You'll feel it in the January closings, and 97.6% listed sale price again. So we're kind of in that vein of like, we're slowly turning a corner. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. We've had similar number of showings, but we have more inventory. The average showings per listing are exactly what they were a year ago. Very similar to what we've seen the last few months. This is a really good sign that they're not lower, right? Because they could easily be lower because of more inventory on the market. It is taking about the same amount of time to go under contract, one more showing. So we're in a spot where as long as interest rates don't rise right away going into the new year, we should see more buyer behavior. All the national economists and Zillow and NAR and everybody are predicting almost 10% more sales this year than last year. So with that being said, that's accounting for higher interest rate environments, for like pretty stable. We should stay in the sixes all year. Sometimes it's going to be higher, sometimes it'll be lower, but that's going to bounce around, and you're going to see more buyers entering the marketplace because we're not worried about elections. We're not worried about any of that. Everybody's pretty optimistic about the economy at this point. Inflation's our biggest concern, but that doesn't seem to be driving our 10-year treasury. So everything being considered, we're starting in a good spot. I feel optimistic about this year. Don't get too excited. We won't see like the most exciting 2025 like a lot of us had hoped for, but marginal increases are good things. So we're going to start seeing us turn a corner here, and I'm really optimistic about that. If you need other data, you have any other questions, concerns, please reach out to me, Anthony at Land Title. Hope to catch you next time. See you soon.